Hey friend, please subscribe. 1 second for you. A big deal for me. I stood beneath the gray sky, surrounded by people dressed in black. Rain tapped softly on the canopy above, like even the weather didn't want to intrude. They called it a memorial service, but it felt more like a meeting. Quiet voices, polite tears, a few rehearsed condolences. That day, I was supposed to say goodbye to my brother, my twin, Asher. He was the louder one, the risk-taker, the first to laugh and the last to back down. I couldn't picture him leaving the world this quietly. My wife, Marissa, stood beside me, her hand gripping mine too tightly. It didn't feel like comfort. It felt like control. My parents sat in the front row, calm and perfect, no red eyes, no shaking hands, just polished grief. They looked like they were closing a business deal, not mourning a son. And then, right as the minister spoke the final words, my phone buzzed once in my pocket. Out of reflex, I glanced down. The message was from Asher's number. "I'm not gone. That's not me." My breath froze. I scanned the crowd. Faces, umbrellas, the driver by the car. No one looked at me. Just the steady sound of rain on fabric. Another buzz. Can't explain now. They're listening. Don't trust Marissa or Mom and Dad. The ground tilted. I slipped the phone back into my pocket and forced my face still. By the time the last words were spoken and people began to drift away, I already knew the truth. Whatever was in that wooden box, it wasn't him. That night, I lay beside Marissa pretending to sleep. Her breathing was calm, steady, like nothing had changed, but my thoughts wouldn't stop spinning. Every nerve in my body was lit up, waiting for something, anything, to make sense. Before dawn, I got out of bed quietly, grabbed my keys, and drove across town, to Asher's apartment. The studio above the tire shop looked the same from the outside, but when I opened the door, the air felt wrong. Too clean, too quiet, no coffee mug on the counter, no clothes on the chair, his guitar, laptop, gone. Only a single jar of mayonnaise in the fridge. He hated that stuff. That's when I knew. This place wasn't cleared by him. It was erased. I started checking the old hiding spots we used as kids. Inside the dresser, behind the vent cover, and then I found it. A fake outlet. Inside, a small plastic bag. And inside that, a burner phone. My hands were shaking as I turned it on. No lock screen, just a single video file. I pressed play. Asher's face filled the frame. He looked exhausted, unshaven, eyes darting around like someone nearby. The wind hissed against the mic. "If you're watching this," he said, "then I either made it out or I didn't. The service wasn't real. Someone close planned it. I'm in hiding because I found something. Something they can't let out. Start with Marissa, then ask Dad about Maverick Pines. And whatever you do, don't trust Mom." He glanced off camera, then leaned closer. "This isn't paranoia, it's survival." The screen went black. I sat there in silence, the phone warm in my hand. I wasn't a man who chased conspiracies, but I knew my brother. And I knew fear when I saw it. That message changed everything, and Maverick Pines became the first name I had to uncover. Sunday afternoon, I drove to my parents' house, the same white brick place I'd known since childhood. The hedges were trimmed, the porch light still burned during the day, and yet everything felt heavier. Like the air itself knew I wasn't just here for dinner. Dad stood by the grill, wearing that same grill sergeant apron he'd had for 20 years. He didn't look surprised to see me. "Burgers or brats?" he asked, flipping one with casual ease. I didn't answer. I just sat down across from him and asked, "What happened at Maverick Pines?" The spatula froze mid-air, grease hissed, the flames cracked louder, but he didn't move. He turned slowly and met my eyes. "Where did you hear that?" "From Asher," I said. "He sent me a message. He's alive. He said the memorial was a cover." Dad stared at the coals for a long moment. Then he exhaled and lowered his voice. "Maverick Pines wasn't what people think. It wasn't a base, not officially. Private contracts, Private funding research that was supposed to help veterans recover from trauma, or that's how they sold it. What kind of research? I asked. He hesitated, as if measuring how much truth to hand over. Neurological enhancement, cognitive mapping. They tried linking emotional responses between subjects, said it would improve reaction times and empathy. I leaned forward. And you were part of it? He nodded once. Logistics, just numbers, shipments, scheduling. I thought it was harmless until they asked for pairs of siblings twins. My pulse quickened. You let him volunteer? He was an adult, Dad said quietly. He wanted to fix his memory after that accident, but after a while he started losing time. Hours gone. He'd call me and not remember what we'd just talked about. Then one day he said he could feel my dreams. That's impossible, I said. Dad's eyes narrowed. It was impossible until it happened. He stared into the grill, flames reflecting in his glasses. They called it emotional resonance. If one twin experienced fear, the other's brain would light up in the same region. It scared the people funding it. They shut it down, at least publicly. I swallowed hard. So why fake his death? He turned toward me, voice low. Because he took something. Data, full access logs, test results. He said it was proof of what they were really doing. And what was that? Dad looked away. They weren't trying to heal anyone, Nate. They were testing how to control loyalty, to teach the brain to obey through shared emotion. They called it Project Stalwart. I sat back, heart racing. So that's what this is about. He ran because they wanted the files back. Dad's silence was answer enough. I stood up. Then help me. Tell me who's behind it. You don't understand, he said. If he reached out, they already know you were supposed to believe he was gone. That was the only way to keep you out of it. I shook my head. It's too late for that. For the first time in my life, my father looked old. He took off the apron, set it on the table, and said, Then you have two choices, vanish or finish what he started. Anything in between will destroy you. I left without another word. That night, I packed a small bag, laptop, flashlight, phone, and the burner drive. If I was going to find my brother, I needed answers. And there was only one person who might still care enough to talk, Riley, the woman he used to love. The next morning, I drove north for nearly 3 hours. The road wound through quiet towns and stretches of forest that swallowed the sunlight. My destination was a cabin listed under Riley Kent, Asher's ex, and once his closest confidant. When I pulled up, a single light glowed from the porch. Before I could knock, the door opened an inch. Her voice came out low, cautious. You look like him, she said. I'm not, I answered. I'm Nate. She studied my face for a long moment, then opened the door wider. Come in. The air inside smelled like lavender and printer ink. Stacks of papers covered the desk, strings and pins connecting names, dates, maps. A wall of chaos that looked too deliberate to be random. You still digging? I asked. She gave a faint smile. Stopped calling it digging. Now it's survival. I sat down across from her. Asher's alive. He contacted me. She froze mid-breath. Then it's starting again. I frowned. Starting what? Riley leaned back, eyes unfocused. The cleanup. They erase every link to the program once someone leaks. I need to know what Maverick Pines really was, I said. She hesitated, then unlocked a metal case under the desk. Inside were folders stamped with faded government seals, medical notes, and test logs. I worked there, she admitted. Not in the lab, in observation. My official title was Behavioral Liaison. I was assigned to monitor one of the twin pairs. I stared at her. You mean Asher? She nodded. They never told him who I really was. They said I was part of a wellness program. But my job was to record his reactions under pressure, how he responded to emotional stress, to isolation, to memory triggers, and I followed every order, until I couldn't. Her voice trembled slightly now. but she kept talking. The experiments were built on shared trauma. They believed twins could be trained to mirror each other's emotions, joy, fear, anger, instantly. If they could synchronize emotional responses, they could create perfect obedience. I looked at the photo on the wall. 2 brain scans marked Subject A and Subject B. The readings were almost identical. That's what they did to him. Riley nodded. And your parents helped make it possible. Your mother oversaw candidate selection. Your father handled transport and supplies. They weren't bystanders, Nate. They were architects. I felt my stomach twist. Why him? Why Asher? She turned to a locked drawer, opened it, and pulled out a printed map. He found something, another phase of the project. They called it Project Sentinel, an extension of Stalwart, using synthetic neural bonding. He downloaded the data and vanished before they could reach him. And the drive? I asked. He kept the original, she said. What I have are the access logs and backup keys. He told me that if he ever disappeared, someone would come looking. She opened her laptop and pulled up a satellite image. A single red dot blinked in the middle of dense forest land. That's the last known signal from his emergency beacon. No roads nearby, no service towers, just wilderness. I leaned closer. So he's out there. She nodded. Still moving, still hiding. He said if you ever showed up, it meant time was running out. I stood and picked up the flash drive from her desk. She followed me to the door, but didn't open it. One more thing, she said softly. Once you go after him, there's no turning back. You'll see things you can't forget. I took a slow breath. I haven't been able to forget anything since that message. She nodded once, eyes sad but resolute. Then you're ready. Outside, the forest waited, quiet, endless, and full of secrets. I had a name, a location, and the feeling that finding Asher would mean losing everything else I thought was real. The forest was quiet. No wind, no birds, only the soft crunch of leaves under my boots. The signal from the tracker faded in and out, guiding me deeper between tall pines that blocked the sun. After nearly 2 hours, I saw it. A small wooden structure, half hidden behind moss and fallen branches. A shack, leaning to one side as if the forest itself wanted to swallow it. I stepped closer and called softly, Asher, it's me. The door creaked open. He stood there, thinner, pale, his eyes sharp and tired. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he said quietly, You shouldn't have come. I had to, I replied. You reached out. He stepped aside. Then come in. Inside, the air smelled of damp wood and dust. A small lantern glowed on a crate beside a pile of notes and old equipment he'd been living like a ghost. I know everything, I said. Marissa, Mom, Dad, the projects, all of it. Asher gave a faint, humorless laugh. Then you know why I stayed hidden. He knelt beside a metal box and opened it carefully. Inside were printed reports, 3 small drives, and a single envelope sealed with red tape. He slid the envelope across the table. This is what they were doing, he said. Not just to us, to others, twins, families, even children. They called it Sentinel Phase 3, emotional replication, turning loyalty into programming. I looked through the papers. There were charts, graphs, coded phrases. It didn't look like science fiction anymore. It looked like a blueprint for control. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I asked. He sighed. Because you wouldn't have believed me, and because I didn't want you in their crosshairs. For a long moment, we just sat in silence. Rain began to tap gently against the roof. What happens now? I asked. He nodded toward an old laptop and a small signal booster. We send it, everything. Once the data's out, it can't be erased. No one can hide it anymore. I hesitated. And then? Then we disappear. Let the truth take care of itself. He started the upload. The screen flickered, bars slowly climbing upward. I watched the progress. 10%, 30, 50, each line of data carrying the weight of what they'd done. Outside, thunder rolled somewhere far away. When it reached 100%, the screen flashed green. "It's out," he said quietly. "Every name, every report." For the first time in months, he looked calm. We stayed there until the storm passed. When the rain stopped, the air smelled clean again. By morning, we'd hiked back to the road. Neither of us spoke much. We both knew that once the truth was free, nothing would ever be the same. The next day, the world began to notice news feeds filled with headlines. Private research scandal, whistleblower leak, Project Sentinel exposed. Photos, files, recordings, everything we'd seen in that cabin, now spreading across the internet. My parents' names appeared on several documents, Marissa's too. Within days, investigations started. The silence that had protected them for years was gone. Riley called once. She didn't say much. Just, "It's over. You did it." Then she hung up. For the first time in a long time, I slept through the night a year later. Asher lived quietly in the mountains. He built a small greenhouse, grew vegetables, fixed old radios. Sometimes we talked, mostly about nothing important. That was enough. As for me, I moved back east, started a small foundation that helps people speak up without fear. We call it the Dwyer Initiative. People come with stories of loss, courage, betrayal, and we help them turn those stories into light. Some days I forget how it all began. A single message from a number that should have been silent. But when I look at my brother, alive and free, I remember that truth doesn't die just because someone buries it. It waits. And when the time comes, it rises again. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. Would you have followed that message if it came from someone you lost? Tell me your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more true stories that stay with you long after they end.